Okay, we back again with a new series. For those that's waiting on some other things like the animal sacrificial understanding offerings, we're going to finish that. That's going to be up here hopefully today, if not, no later than tomorrow morning. But we're going to start on something new dealing with this dietary law. And but we're going to come at it from a different angle because we're trying to get people to understand what's going on. We're trying to get people to see how serious this is, how serious the dietary law actually is. We're going to go into Paul's writing. We're going to look at a whole lot of different things to try to show you what is actually going on in the scriptures when it comes to Paul's writing and his food. But it's a lot of things people don't understand. Now, some of y'all that come up here, I know that you study and you study hard. But we have a lot of new people because we remember from the beginning, I told you, this is a class for people that's just trying to learn the true Torah. See, this is what we after, brand new people. We don't mind if scholars come up here because we're not afraid of that anyway, because we know the research that we've done. We know how long we've been doing this research. We know how long we've been walking in this walk. And we know that everything that we do, we always pray for the guidance of the Ruach HaKodesh. So it is what it is. Now, we're going to get into this lesson because, again, this is a very important topic and it's a very disputed subject when it comes to those that are on milk, but those that are on meat, we understand what's going on. We're going to show you why everything is flipped upside down right now, and it's going to keep getting worse. So it's time for us that are in this thing to turn all the way possible to the Creator. And it's time for those that are still stuck in some of these places, some of these whorehouses, and under these evil men that keep you, in darkness. It's time to step out into the light, y'all. Because if you can't see what's going on, and then when you try to get an answer from someone that's supposed to be teaching you, and they can't explain nothing to you, but keep giving you all these things about how good it's going to be, and it's going to be all right, and God wants you to prosper, it's time out for that. Because we see all over the world, people are not prospering, food is disappearing, animals are dying, half the country is on fire again. I mean, it is what it is. So for those that want to get their mind right and get an understanding about some of these things, we're going to keep putting stuff like this out. We've been putting it out like this. We just urge you to try to go through these classes because all the classes that we do, we try to touch every subject that we possibly can because it's needed. It's going to help you be stronger in this walk. And that's what this is all about. And this is what we got to get the people to see. This is part of our work to get this word out, not just have knowledge and sit back on it and you're not trying to help nobody. No, we got to try. We're supposed to be out here trying to find these sheep. So with that being said, let's go ahead and pray. Yahuwah, we come before you, Father, as always, asking for mercy and forgiveness for our sins, transgressions, and iniquities. We just ask, Father, that you cover us, Father, with the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, your precious one. We also, Father, ask that you just remember those that come up here on this class. And we ask you, Father, to remember those that's trying to keep your commandments all over this world, whoever they look like, whatever they are, whatever. And we also, Father, thank you for the ultimate love gift, Yahushua HaMashiach. And we also, Father, thank you for the one that leads us and guides us and warns us about all these things and shows us and teaches us and takes us by the hand like little babies. The Ruach HaKodesh. All we have to do is listen, Father. And as always, we magnify the name of Yahuwah, Father. We praise the name of Yahuwah. We love the name of Yahuwah, Father. We just ask that, Father, you remember us and make us up as your jewels in your crown. But we know what we have to do, Father, and that's constantly think about you, constantly talk about you, Father, constantly share this information with others. We thank you for waking us up in our right mind. We thank you for food and raiment, Father, because a lot of people don't have these things. And we know that that alone is a blessing. We thank you, Father, for all your benefits, the air we breathe, the birds outside singing. I mean, just your kindness when even when we don't even know you, how kind and merciful you are. We thank you for that, mighty one. And we ask these things, Father, and we make this prayer, Father, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. All right, we're going to get into this thing here. We're going to jump right into this thing. It's time to get down, and I'm ready. I've been working on this lesson for a while. See, these lessons, a lot of these lessons is old. And I've been wanting to do this for so many years, but then I didn't want to do it for so many years. But the Spirit just had me working on these classes, and I got so many of them. I'm trying to get so much information out. It's just unbelievable. Who would have ever thought? But this class, the Sons of the Stone, presents the dietary instruction from the Sod or the Sod level. And we're going to explain what that means. This is part one. But we got to go into some things so we can get some understanding. Let me do what I always do and get ready for this. All right, here we go. Let's roll. Now, a decree, it's a noun, and it means an official order issued by a legal authority. So we want to keep this in mind about this word decree because it's very important. Now, a decree comes from Hebrew word number 2706, the Hebrew word hoch, right? It's a statute, it's an ordinance, it's a decree, right? It's a law, right? It's a portion that's given to us as humans. It's a portion that's given to the whole creation. And what that means is that it's words that he gives us that we're supposed to follow. And it should be our custom. It shows us the bounds or the limits that we can go this way or that way. They're appointed to all things, not just man. They're appointed to the whole creation because they're commandments that come out of the king's mouth. Now let's keep rolling. Now, in the name of Yahuwah, most merciful, most humble, and most beneficent, who dwells with him who is lowly and has a contrite spirit, we magnify your most set-apart name and thank you for all things because his mercy endures forever. Selah. We love Yah. We love you, Father. We love you. Now, Genesis, let's look at this thing in the beginning because we've all read this story and, in the beginning, how everything was created. But I mean, have we really looked at it from the side or the soul level? It's the question we got to ask ourselves. And we're going to do that today. All right. Now, in the beginning was what? Tohu bohu. It was darkness. It was chaos. It was nothingness. Now, you'll hear a lot of scholars say, well, this is when, after the Great War with Hasatan. I don't know about that. But this is a whole nother lesson, and we're not going to get into that right now. But I'm just showing you how everything was from this point. It was total darkness, chaos. There was nothing. Then Elohim said, let there be light. So who is this Elohim? It's the Father. And if you don't understand that, we got lessons up here that will help you understand that. You can go to the almighty name of the Father to get this information. But the Father is the emperor. The Son is the king. He's a strong arm of the Father. He's the one that puts things in motion. And the Ruach HaKodesh is the thing that creates it. She makes everything come to be. So Elohim said, let there be light, and there was light. And Elohim saw how good the light was. And Elohim then separated the light from the darkness. Let me get myself together. And you don't hear me flipping no pages today. I'm gonna use a tablet because I don't want to move too fast, but I want to move fast enough. Then Elohim said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Genesis 1:6. All right, so he's putting a separation. That's what firmament means. Now, The heavens of heavens is the dwelling place of the one true Elohim, Deuteronomy 10 and 14. No one has ascended here except the sovereign Yahushua HaMashiach, right? It tells us that in John 3 and 13 and Ephesians 4 and 10. The second heaven, the firmament of heavens, outer space, Genesis 1, 14 through 18, right? The first heaven, firmament or atmosphere above the earth, Genesis 1, 6 through 8. So that shows us that we have different heavens. So when people say, well, they're in heaven right now, okay, which heaven are you talking about? Because we already know the Mashiach told you where the Father is in that heaven, you can't go there. Now you can get in a rocket ship and go up here, to the second heaven if you want to. You can be on the ground and you can jump up in the air or jump off your roof, and guess what? You in the first firmament for a few seconds, or where the birds fly. That's it. You're not going to where the Father is. You can't even get to that heaven. See, so this is another way to show. But again, some of us haven't been taught this. So we're gonna get taught, we're gonna learn this today. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. See, people, that goes over people's head. Well, right now, Sister Maggie, she's up in heaven right now, looking down, smiling. Okay, where is she at looking down, smiling? See, the heavens, even the heavens are Yahuwah's, but the earth he has given to the children of men. Psalms 115 and 16. We're going to get to that. So I want you to understand that. Stop letting these people trick you. And this is why we do these lessons, to help you if you have an open mind and if you actually want to learn. But if you're up here, evidently, you must be trying to learn something. King James Bible, hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong, and as a molten looking glass? That's Job 37 and 18. So we see that the atmosphere is made up of different things. And what did he say? It's strong as a molten looking glass. Let's see if the scriptures, we're going to find out the scriptures is right. Right? Now, because you got to remember these firmaments, here's the earth, and then here's the upper seas, right? And you got chambers in heaven. Enoch tells you that, but we haven't gotten there yet. And we're not going to do that much of that in this class, because we're trying to prove a point, or we're trying to show you something. Now, 2 Peter 3 and 5, but they deliberately forgot that long ago by Elohim's word, the heavens came into being and the earth was formed out of water by water. See, so it's not that when we look at everything, we don't really look at it like the earth sitting in water, or that the earth was in the water and came up out of the water. But that's exactly how it happened. You see, Psalms 104 and 5, he set the earth on its foundations, never to be moved. So the earth actually sits on foundations, and it has pillars of the earth where it actually sits. Now, some people say this is sure. I believe that, because we got other scriptures that whoever put this together, they really put this thing together. Yes, sir. The waters above the firmament, I like that. This was like one of the best pictures I could find, because I know most people, they like to look at things to help get understanding. That's why we do it this way. We could sit down and read all day, and we do a lot sometimes on different subjects. We actually go through chapters of books. Because we know that's necessary. But then again, for brand new people, and even some people that have been in this thing, to me, I like to teach like this, so you can see things and you can kind of get a better understanding, right? Psalms 104 and 5, he set the earth on the foundations, never to be moved. You covered it with the deep like a garment. The water stood above the mountains. Let's keep rolling. Now, remember what Job just got done saying? He said that the sky, which is strong and as molten, right? So that means that, in other words, if I went to space and I try to come back inside in the earth, this is why the scientists, they understand this stuff. They know that when they send these ships up out of space, and when it comes back into the atmosphere, it has to come in at a certain angle so that it doesn't burn up, because of the strength of the sky. See, the strength of the molten looking glass. So it's something that Job saw that looks like some type of particles of something that he saw that the Ruach showed him so he can understand to say this. And the scientists know this, right? Now this is just, I got this off the NASA site for children. Spacecraft reentry is tricky business for several reasons. When the object enters the Earth's atmosphere, it experiences a few forces. That's that molten glass, but also including gravity and drag. Gravity will naturally pull an object back to Earth, but gravity alone will cause the object to fall dangerously fast. So it has to, even with the speed that it comes back in the atmosphere, it has to be a certain way when it's cutting through that molten glass. Otherwise, it's going to blow up. It's going to catch on fire. It's going to get too hot. But gravity alone, right, would cause this object to fall dangerously fast. Luckily, Earth's atmosphere contains particles of air. As the object falls, it hits and rubs against these particles, this molten glass, creating friction. This friction causes the object to experience drag, slows it down, or air resistance, which slows down the object to a safer entry speed. Earth's atmosphere has 6 layers: the troposphere, the stratosphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere, the ionosphere, and the exosphere. So we have to understand that. But this is the creator that did all these things. And then when he came, this is the thing we got to understand, when he called everything into being, all these different things are obeying him. And they stay right there. They never move, because that's the commandment or the decree that he had to give them. So they never move. And they're doing what they're commanded to do. Just keep moving. Now, we see that everything came out of the water, right? But guess what? We know in other classes, we've showed you that we have the 5 elements that come out of the ground is in you, because you come out of the earth, right? Man was created out of the dust of the ground. So guess what? When you're born, you're born right now. If you're pregnant, that baby's sitting in a amniotic fluid, right? And when it comes out, that's why the baby gets smacked on the butt. And then it blows out it blows out his mouth and his nostrils, right? And guess what? Now he has to breathe air because he was in a fish-like form, right? But now he's ready for a new beginning with a new body. It's like a rebirth, right? So the proportion of water in a human body is 70%. That's why you got to have water to survive. Your brain, right? Water in certain organs and body parts. Your brain needs 73% of your brain has to have water. Otherwise, it's not going to function. Your blood, 94%. Your kidneys, 79%. Your muscles, 75%. Eyes, 95%. Heart, 75%. Lung, 83%. Bones, 31%. So you need to be drinking some water. Now, 2 Samuel 22, right? In 16, and the channels of the sea appeared. The foundations of the world were discovered. At the rebuking of Yahuwah and the blast of the breath of his nostrils, he sent from above, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. So we part of the earth, and since the earth came out of water, you made up of water yourself. This is how powerful this Elohim that we serve is. He's deep. Deep. So if you're not drinking no water, you better start drinking water. Now, hear the decree of your creator. O grass and herb-bearing seed and fruit trees after your kind. Everything that's created has a commandment. It has a decree and for something that it's supposed to do. Now, and Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass. Right? Elohim made me too. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass. The grass, they heard them, they came forth. The herb yielding seed, right? Whatever herb, it heard them, it came forth. The fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind. So every fruit tree, if it's an apple, grape, pomegranate, whatever, is doing what it's supposed to be doing. You'll never see, but you got these humans that try to make these hybrid fruits. You'll be surprised. When I went to culinary school, I learned there's so much food that has disappeared off this earth. It's unbelievable. And so many things that we eat, we think that are in a natural state. They hybrids. They made up stuff like broccoli. See, but we don't know these things because they're not going to tell you. And number two, we don't like to find out nothing. right? So yielding seed and a fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. So every time the tree produces that fruit, guess what? It also has a seed in it. But like I say, being as a person that, that I still like to cook. But I can remember years, maybe 15 years ago, cutting up some different vegetables and food. It didn't have no seed. I was like, what the? Because I know that's when I realized this is some hybrid food. Because according to the commandment and the decree that was put forth, every plant, every vegetable, every grass, every herb, according to the decree, if it was left alone, would bring forth the fruit or the grass or the herb that it was created to do, and it's also going to have seeds so it can replenish itself and it can keep growing. But we know that Monsanto has taken over like the seeds of the world and all this type of stuff. It's real. This stuff is real, y'all. But then we have to find the answers in the scriptures. I don't care what it is. It's in here. You just got to know where to go find it. You got to go ahead and be full of this ruach so that she can show you these things and where to find it. Now, here's the decree of the king, your creator, O sun and moon. Let's look at Enoch. And this is the law and the course of the sun. So we see that the sun has a course that it follows, and it has a decree or a law to follow that course. Never comes off it. Always does what it's supposed to do, never fails. And after this law, I saw another law dealing with the smaller luminary. Who was that? That's the moon, because she has one too. And I saw another course of the law for her. So she has a decree that's given to her, and how according to that decree, she performs her monthly revolution. And this is how we know how to keep our Shabbats, because we looking to see. We know that she's going to wax and she's going to wane. And that's how we know when we're supposed to follow. Okay, like the 15th now, boom, it's getting ready to be the Shabbat. So we know that night, here come the moon, that's the evening. And then in the morning is the first day of the Shabbat. We understand that now. But she has a course and a decree she has to follow. And she always has followed it, no matter what. Now, let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens for signs and for seasons, days and for years. Elohim made the two great lights. Elohim made the two great lights, the greater light to govern the day, which is the sun, and the lesser light to govern the night. He made the stars also, Genesis 1:16. See, so we use all these elements because they're for signs and seasons and for years. This tells us when our feasts are coming in. See, we're going to show you that. Greater light for signs, days, and years. And this is the law, first law of the luminaries, the luminary. The sun has its rising in the eastern portals of the heavens and its settings in the western portals, right, of the heavens. Oh, I missed that, sorry. But this is it. This is what he put this sun here for, which never veers off course. It's a commandment, it's a decree, and the sun follows it. Because if the sun got too close to the earth, it would be chaos. If the sun, everything would burn up. If the sun got off, if the sun broke the decree or the commandment and went back too far, the whole earth would freeze. So aren't you glad that this part of his creation is obedient? This is how important obedience really is, y'all. You got to understand it's life or death. So either way, if this son did not keep that commandment, we would either burn up to death or we would freeze to death. It's life or death. That's why I put this together for that, so you can get a better understanding of this. Now, lesser light for signs and seasons, moed, moedim, appointed times, Sabbaths and feasts. So this lesser light lets us know when it's time for us to do the things that he gave man to do, because she's doing her thing. She's always doing her thing. Now it's some, it's different writings in Enoch that makes it seem like she does whatever she do. No, it doesn't. It's not that she does whatever she wants. She's doing what she's commanded. Some days she might show up on the 29th. Some days she might show up on the 30th day. Some days, this is what that means. It's not that she just does what she wants. No, she cannot do that. Nothing does what it wants. Everything does what the decree tells it to do. The Mashiach had a decree. He came here. He put on flesh. He gave up all his power and walked and trusted and believed in the Father for everything. That's why he said, man, if I want to right now, I can get a word and have legions of messengers, angels come down here and tear up all this. But the decree I was given was to take the pain, take the punishment. That's what we got to understand. So even if the Mashiach had a decree and he told you this, all the words, even the words that I speak, they ain't mine. They're coming from my Father, the real controller, the real emperor. I have to be obedient. I have to submit. And that's the problem. People don't want to submit. But guess what? You're going to submit one way or the other. And he's steady showing you that your riches cannot help you. He just got done burning up $1 million homes out here in California. Sitting there on the coast, $8 million to live on the coast, and they're gone now. So we can't depend on nothing but him. And you're going to learn that by the time we get done with this. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of the sovereign. That's Acts 20:2. Let's go to Joel and see where Paul got this from. Because see, we know for years they kept me out of the Old Testament. You don't need that, man. Yeah, man, that's the Old Testament. You don't need that. Okay, well, we've been learning more and more in this class. You do need it if you want to understand some stuff. Joel 2:31. Let's get there. The sun shall be turned into darkness, the moon into blood before the great and the terrible day of the sovereign come. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. See, Matthew chapter 24 and verse 29. You know what? I'm gonna even jump up here. And we're going to start at verse 4. Matthew 24:4. We're going to go through some of this. I want y'all to see this. And it's going to click to you later on. It said, and Yahushua answered and said to him, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and shall deceive many. And we can see that's happening right now. Right? Because they coming in another name, right? And what they doing? They got people deceived. See? I don't have to follow no decree. This is what I've been told all my life, right? Right. So, verse 6, and you shall hear wars and rumors of wars. We've been seeing that all over. And they got a big one going on right now. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So we don't have to be afraid. We don't have to be, for those that's walking in him, we ain't got to be worried about nothing. Because we see these things. We see the nations rise up against nations and kingdom against kingdom. We see the famines that's going on right now. It's one part of Africa where these people are starving to death. The pestilence, the earthquakes in diverse places, all these are the beginning of sorrow. So this is the beginning of sorrow for all of us. This is why we have to understand as much of this as we possibly can. Let's go down to verse 29. Because he's going to tell you in verse 13, that verse 12, and because iniquity shall abound and the love of many shall wax cold. We're going to look at that. That's what's happening right now. But you couldn't understand how anybody is doing some of the stuff that they're doing on this earth right now. It's like nobody don't care no more. It's because of disobedience. And we're going to show you that. Right? But guess what? He's telling you, but you got to endure all these things so that you can be saved. Not that you saved already. That's verse 13. And then he's telling you the real thing that we're supposed to be doing. This is the work that we were supposed to be doing. We're going to show you that later on too. But this gospel or these decrees, right? They got to be preached all over the place to all nations, right? And then after everything, every animal, every creature has heard this, that's when the end gonna come. Let's go down to verse 29. That's a whole nother thing. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the Shamayim, and the power of the Shamayim shall be shaken. So we see that these entities was created for signs. See, and it gives us all the information that we need to get. Okay, because if you see this happen, was that an eclipse? But you know the difference. But when this happens, then you're gonna, for those that have understand, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, it's here. There ain't no eclipse. We can go to Revelation 6 and 12. It's gonna tell us the same thing. I just like to give a couple of witnesses all the time, and that's gonna be very important in this dietary law. You see what I'm saying, on the solid level, because once we get to that, you're gonna see, okay, where's the other witness for this? I can pray over anything and eat it. Where's the other witness for that? Because there is none. Now, Job 28:26, when he made a decree for the rain and a way for the lightning of the thunder. So the lightning, the thunder, all these things have a decree. So when he says, he tells that messenger, send the lightning. The lightning is coming. Send the rain. The rain, as soon as that messenger said, okay, the Father, okay, yes, Master. No questions asked. I'm gonna rain. I'm gonna come down on the earth as long as you tell me to, and I'm not gonna stop until you tell me to. We saw that in Noah's day, but we know he ain't gonna flood it out like that. Why? Because he's a covenant Elohim, and he made a covenant with Noah that he wasn't gonna do that no more. See, but these entities, these created things, still do what he says. Now, hear the decree of your Creator. All creatures of the seas and rivers. So they all got, everything has a decree, right? Look at this, day 5, right? And Elohim said, let the water swarm with the swarms of the living creatures, and let birds fly over the earth across the face of the vaulted dome of heaven. What? Because that's what a firmament is that. We not getting into no whatever that thing they was flipping out about a couple of years about the earth is in some type of bubble. Man, get out of here with that. All right. So you got the birds, small birds, larger birds, everything that's in the sea has a decree to do what it does. The shark swims around, it finds animals that's sick, and it devours them. Right? The dolphins, they're made to hunt and swim together. The orcas, depending on because they made after their kind. So whatever their kind is, that's what you're gonna find them doing without fail. No questions asked. The salmon is gonna be hatched. It's gonna leave the mountainous waters, go through the ocean in the course that it's given to do, and come back and swim upstream and lay eggs. This sea turtle is going to be hatched in the sand. She's going to run out into the ocean. She's going to make her course and come back and lay eggs. It never stops. The butterfly, she might have to fly 1,000 miles. But when she comes out of that cocoon, she's going to fly 1,000 miles till she gets to the place that he appointed to her to lay new eggs or to make, then come all the way back 1,000 miles. And then it never stops. Everything obeys him. Everything has a decree and it follows it. But man, when he gave the sea his decree, wait a minute, the sea has a decree? Yes. That the waters should not pass his commandment when he appointed the foundations of the earth. So when he went ahead and appointed the foundations of the earth, pulled the earth up out of the sea, he said, this is it. You cannot come no further than this. This is your boundary, right? But guess what happened? So how does a tsunami happen? Because he commands that to happen. He commands the earth, the volcano to erupt. Boom, now the water, he's taking away that decree because guess what? For some reason, whether it's disobedience or whatever, only he knows, I want this destroyed. And we're going to show you he does these things. Amos 5 and 8. He who made the Pleiades and Orion, these are stars, and changed deep darkness into morning, who also darkens day into night, who calls for the waters of the sea and pours them out on the surface of the earth. Yahuwah is his name. We just looked at that. He showed you how he makes the water come down. It has a decree to rain. Then we also know there's been tsunamis picking up here lately. There's going to be some more of them because we're going to show you why. And Elohim created great whales and every living creature that moved, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind. Here's the decree of the king, your creator. All creatures and creeping things after their kind. This is Genesis 1 and 24. Let's look at that. We so worried about all this other stuff. You better get on, like that OJ said, you better don't miss this train at the station. Because if you miss it, I feel sorry for you. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping things, and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. Why was it so? Because that's the decree that he gave. So the bear has a time when it knows it eat berries, it eat all this, and then it hibernates. Right? Everything. The ram, he likes to be, his decree was to be up in the mountains. So he's up in the mountains, walking places that can't no other creature walk without falling to their death. I mean, everything does what it's supposed to do. Everything. Now, Genesis 2 and 7, right? Or Genesis 1 and 27. So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him, male and female, he created them, right? And Yahuwah Elohim formed the man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul, right? Which is H number 5397, right? This breath, right? Nasama or Nasima. That's where you get your divine inspiration, your intellect. This is your spirit, your inspiration, your soul, your spirit. Every breathing thing. This is where this comes from. It's you and the Elohim put that inside of you. Because when you die, when they come out, you go to heaven, no, this flesh goes back to the ground. That breath that he breathed into you, that's that ruach that he put in you, that goes back to him. Not you. But that is you because it's your essence. And then he deals with that, and then it's a place he sends you to rest or either whatever. Now, I'm not gonna get into that right now, but please believe me, I got a class ready for that. Let's go look at Matthew. People getting talking about you flying away to heaven. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere, buddy. Right? Let's see. What did I do? Oh, 38. This is the first and great commandment, right? Verse 37, thou shalt love thy Elohim, right? Yahuwah thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, right? With all your, in other words, with all your mind, with the breath that's blowed into you, because you're supposed to have ruach inside of you, cultivating that breath, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. This is what man has forgotten. Because again, we aren't being taught these things in some of these places that we at. But this is what you want, because this is going to help you make up your mind. See, this is going to put that spark into you to make you want to do more research and look at this thing to see if you are on the right path. See, it's very important. Here's the decree of your creator, O man, made after his likeness and his image. See, because he gave us a commandment too, but Adam didn't do what he was supposed to do. What was they supposed to do, Saul? They are to love and obey their creator, right? By doing what we just read. By what? Keeping the first and great commandment. They are to be fruitful. They are to have dominance over the earth and all things. See, so this man was kind of like the gardener or the person that he put over all the other things that have a decree. Because if he would have kept his decree and they would have kept their decree, I mean, which they are keeping their decree, but as we see, it's a lot of things starting to change now. Some of these animals are not afraid of you no more, because that was a law for them too. But it's a reason for these things to happen. It's going to keep getting worse. They are to have love for each other. See, we're supposed to love each other. Why? Right? Let's look at 1 John 4 and 20. Whoever claims to love Elohim, yet hates a brother or sister, he's a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister whom they have seen cannot love Elohim whom they have not seen. Why? And Yah said, let them have dominion. Why? Why is that? Because Your brother or your sister is filled with this breath. So how can I, if I don't, I mean, how can I say I love him when I don't even love you? Or that, which means I'm also not even loving the essence that he put inside that person, which is him. So it's more than one way to look. That's why I say we try to look at stuff on this class. We're gonna hit a lot of souls at a different side level, so you can understand that. But we know that men don't love their neighbor as themselves, and they definitely don't love Yah because they shooting, they killing each other like hotcakes. Death is all over the place right now, and it's gonna keep getting worse. Now, why? Because every breathing thing, he called all these things good. Everything that you look at, everything that you see on this earth, if it's not man-made, it is breathing. It needs air, and it has a part of Yahuwah in it. I don't care what it is. This phrase, right? So he called all things good. See, that means, guess what? The lobster, it's good. The squid, it's good. The crab, it's good. Right? The whale, the carp, the pike, one of my favorite fish. I mean, even the little piggy, the clams, the catfish, they're all good. Why are they good? Because they are following the decree that they had to give, right? The pike, it's gonna eat fish. It's supposed to catch all the sick fish in the rivers. The same type of mindset that was put in the shark is put inside this pike. That's his job, right? The crab, these mussels and clams, right? The lobster, the pig, and the squid. All these things, what do? They clean up the ocean. They're good because they are following the decree that when something dies, to stop disease from flowing all over the place, Yah is supposed to go and find it and eat it and clean it up. Because, whatever he may put inside of them, they can handle that, like a buzzard. If you ever get up close on a buzzard, it stinks. Why? Because it eats death. But that's what it was created to do. It's following the decree. If it flies around in circles in the sky, when it sees the animal sick, when it dies, it comes down and it devours it to keep disease off the earth. So it's good because it was created to do that, and it's following the decree that was given to it. Even the pig. The first pigs was so what are you saying? So they were created to root out the ground. Farmers used to use them to dig up and eat up roots and move stuff that they couldn't, so that when they got ready to plant their crops, it would be better for them. Ask anybody out in Texas. That's why they out there killing them feral pigs, because they rooting up all the ground and they causing all this erosion and all this damage. That don't mean you can take them and put them on a grill. We're going to show you this. So this is why he said it's good. And Paul's going to tell you the same thing later on. But we're going to have to look at some stuff with Paul. Paul is something else. And then you got these other folks that had to do a lot. They hand in a lot of this too. We're going to show you this. Right? Birds sing in the morning. Let everything that has breath praise Yahuwah. So you think in the morning before the sun come up, the birds just singing, it's be singing? No, they talking to the Creator. They thanking him for all things, for giving them all their sustenance all the day long, for touching somebody's mind. So they'll go out there and put some bird seed on the ground so they can eat. I mean, it's a real situation, but the animals understand that. And since they stay so much in tune with him, when it's a tsunami, if anybody that understands that, what happened? All the people that was on the beach and in the hotel, they got drowned to death. The man said, well, some of the survivors, I don't know, about 2 hours before, all the animals just took off and started running through the town up in the mountains. Why? Because of the fact they still praise him every day. They still in tune with him. Why? Because they're keeping the decree that was given to them. They're in covenant with him. So he's going to warn them about what he put inside them so they can sense that. You can't sense nothing. Somebody can walk up on you and blow your brains out. You never would know it. Now, Psalms 148:3. Praise him. Sun and moon, praise him, all stars of light. Wait a minute, they do that too? Jeremiah 31:35. Thus says Yahuwah, who gives the sun for light by day and the fixed order. What? The fixed order of the moon and the stars for light by night. See, everything has a decree and it follows it. I can show you in Enoch where a star did not do that and it was punished. Who stirs up the sea so that its waves roar. Yahuwah of hosts is his name. Psalms 104:19. He made the moon for the seasons. The sun knows the place of its setting. See, boom, I'm giving you other witnesses. When I go to Enoch, guess what? Boom, I'm showing you another place where it's at in the 66. That's why when people come to me, I don't got no problem with these other books, but you got to show me somewhere in the scripture it's saying the same thing. You can't show me that. I mean, even though you believe it, you can't make me believe it because I'm not. I need witnesses. The scripture said by 2 or more witnesses is a fact established. If you can't establish a fact with the stuff that you read, you need to throw that in the garbage. Or you need to find an elder that can help you with that. So that means you got to be a little humble. That means, you got to be a little lowly. See? Nehemiah 9:6, you alone are Yahuwah. You have made the heavens, the heaven of heavens. Remember, he knew this too, with all their host. Oh no, the earth and all that is on it, the seas and all that is in them. You give life to all of them, and the heavenly host bows down before. Wait a minute. So everything praises him. Everything bows down to them. Everything bows down to the Father. Everything. Wow. Okay. Genesis 5, and Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his mind was only evil continually. This is the problem. Everything else, it ain't saying that the birds is only evil. The elephants, their mind is, no, it's you. The one that was, that's the hard part. That's the blowout. The being that was created in his likeness rebels against him. And all the other creatures of his creation obey him. That got to be something, that's kind of hard. That got to be a hard blow. Because that's like saying, if I have a son and people say, man, boy, that man, Tony look just like you. What? Look, man, he like you spit. He looks even so much like you spit him out of your mouth. And then my son just out of control. He out here robbing folks and selling dope and all up in the jailhouse, out of the jailhouse. I mean, all disobedient and all this. Any parent would feel a certain way. And then after a while, they're going to get mad and say, look, man, ain't nothing, I don't even know who you are. This is man. This is man in the eyes of Yahuwah. You a rebel, you a criminal, you a crook, you a murderer, you a thief, all these things. And the only way I can get you out, only way I can accept you back is if you get up under this blood of the one out of my family that I sent down here to take all that away and protect you from that, because I'm going to destroy everything. I'm going to kill all things. And I'm going to bring them back to life, but this has to stop. This is what we got to get in our mind. This is what we got to understand. Now, the benefits of obedience. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. That's why we don't worry about stuff around him. I will set him on high because he have known my name. So we know whatever we put out, as long as we doing what he said, as long as we keeping his decree, guess what? No matter what, it's going to work out. Even if it look bleak, it's going to be all right. And I thank y'all for the prayers that y'all been giving up. My wife is fine. All that's over with now. And she never wavered, not once. I love them that love me. And those that seek me early shall find me. Hold on a minute, man. Whew. I tell you what, boy, I am so blessed to have her for my wife. I thank y'all for her daily. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love Elohim, to them who are the called according to his purpose. So if you're one of the ones that was chosen from the foundation of the world, according to his purpose, because whatever you're supposed to be doing, I don't know, that's between you and him. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. That's why I'm talking to you right now. Everything gonna be all right. We don't worry. The Mashiach told you, ain't no need to be terrorized. Ain't no need to be afraid. When all these things happen, why? Because we know that all things are going to work together for the good of them that love him. How do you love him? By keeping his decree. If you love me, keep my commandments. Oh, we don't need to do that no more. Okay. Who shall separate us from the love, right? of Christ? Who's going to separate us from the decree that he gave us? Shall tribulation? Nope. I looked at my wife. She went through all kinds. No. Distress? Oh, she cried a lot. But guess what? She still prayed. She still did her lessons. She still did everything. Right? Or persecution? But that's coming for all of us. Famine? It's looking real kind of close right now, because when you go to the grocery store, it's a whole lot of stuff ain't not there right now. Nakedness? Well, you might not have that beautiful house. You might have to be at the shelter. You might have to be outside in the woods with a tent. Who knows? Peril? That's coming. The sword? They sure gonna kill you if you don't get to the place of safety first. It's gonna be one of the two. See, ain't nothing supposed to separate us from this. From his commandments, from his what? His decrees. Then you can have confidence. See, when you obey him, you got confidence. If something ain't going right, well, you know what, babe? Maybe that ain't what we're supposed to be doing. We'll just wait, because we know he's gonna show it to us, because every time he has something for us, it falls right into place. We don't even have to do nothing. So you got confidence. I can go down here and talk to these people down here. Man, you going down there, man? They killing jokers down there. Man, I don't care nothing about that. This is part of my works. This is what I was created to do from the beginning. I got to go down here and do this, right? Psalms 20, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. Yahuwah hear thee in the day of trouble. The name of the Elohim of Jacob is going to defend you. Send thee help from the sanctuary and strengthen thee out of Zion. Remember all thy offerings and accept thy burnt sacrifice. Yes, sir. Grant thee according to thine own heart and fulfill all thy counsel. We will rejoice in thy salvation, and in the name of our Elohim, we will set up our banners. Yahuwah fulfill all thy petitions. See? We got our banner up there. Guess what? We all set up around the temple. We got our banner high showing that we belong to you. We from this tribe. See? And when I pray, guess what? He gonna fulfill my petitions. Because I don't care about no Mercedes. I don't care about no mansion. I don't care about none of that. My thing, Father, please help me walk in your way. Help me be right. Help me help somebody today. Help me give somebody a word that they need. When I walk this way, let somebody see me walking like you. That's it. Now know I that Yahuwah saveth his anointed. He will hear him from his holy heaven with the saving strength of his right hand. Who's the saving strength of his right hand? It's the Yod, it's the Mashiach, the one that got that blood that you're supposed to be up under. Now somebody talking about, it's an anointing in the air. What's anointing in the air? How's it anointing in the air? You ain't even doing, you don't love him because you ain't doing what he said. You ain't even teaching the people about the decree. So what anointing is that? Is that the anointing from Hasatan? Because he gives anointings out too. Right? Yahuwah knows when you serve him, like right now, we got a project going on. He knows what I need. I asked him for it. And guess what? One way and one form or other, I know I'm going to get it. Because I don't worry. I don't need to worry about nothing. Now, 1 Corinthians 13. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not love. Wait a minute. So you thought he was just talking about which he is talking about the love for your, because we see that's from the beginning. We're supposed to love each other because each other got the breath of Yahuwah in them. But guess what the other part of it, but the side level of love is talking about the decree. I am become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy, right? I can shunda harakapaka, whatever they say, they're supposed to have that and understand all mysteries. Brother Saul can go ahead and show you all these mysteries. And all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I can remove mountains and have not love, I'm nothing. See, so I got to have the love from the physical plane and the love from the soul plane or the sod plane. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not love, it profits me nothing. See, he's going through showing you all these things that you're going to hear people talking about. But you got to look and see if they got the fruit of love on their tree. Love suffers long and is kind. Charity envieth not. So many people getting killed just because of this. Love vaunteth not itself, right? You always stay low. Well, man, we talk about something, they don't, okay, you don't know what you're saying. Okay, well, man, can I show you this? Or they might say something, maybe you might not say, okay, man, you know what, you stronger than me, you win. It's not, I'm not puffed up because I know something. I learn something all the time from all kind of people. Does not behave itself unseemly. Always supposed to have self-control. Seeketh not her own. It's right, because you always supposed to be thinking about somebody else. It's not easily provoked. You ain't mad enough. Now you done shot somebody. Now you sitting up in the jailhouse with tears coming down your eyes, looking out that window and getting ready to go to pretrial. Think of no evil. See? Keep them evil thoughts out your mind. Rejoices not in iniquity. Not happy when something happened to somebody. My neighbor next door, this guy would never cut his grass. He always, I would try to go help him. I don't need your help. I always shooting his guns, acting a fool. Now all these trees started falling. And I just told the brother, I said, listen, man, let me come over there with you. And we can take a chainsaw, these machetes, cut these vines from around these trees. Because they're going to start, if you don't, these trees going to start falling on my house and they're going to start falling. Look, man, I ain't worried about it. You don't need to be in my yard. Okay. Guess what? Not even 4 or 5 months later, now he got 2 and 3 yard trees and fell in the yard. He just leaving them there. I even offered to come over to help the brother cut them up. He don't care. So, but this is the thing. See, rejoices not in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. What is the truth? We know what the truth is. The truth is the commandments, baby. It's the decree. The truth is the decree. And if everything followed the decree that it was given to them, this world would be like it is now. See? Beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Love never faileth, but whether there be prophecies, because some people telling you this gonna happen, they're gonna fail. Not the ones that the Father gives. We talking about, because you hear people prophesying this and prophesying that, they fail. Whether there be tongues, so somebody with Hakamashanda, whatever, who cares? There ain't even nothing to be alarmed at. And I say that because I remember back in the 70s when we used to go to church, we would smoke weed and go to church just to be laughing at the people shouting. And the lady came over there with that Hakamashanda. She had me shook up, boy, I was froze. She scared me to death. Next thing I know, I was sitting in the chair up there and they singing over me. Let them come on. Well, I can't remember what it was, but it's been so long ago. See? But guess what? Now I know that's going to cease. See? Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away because you're going to get old and you ain't going to remember nothing. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, the Mashiach, then that which is in part shall be done away. Because it's going to be whole. Everything's going to be made whole. This is why you practicing the righteous acts by trying to follow the decrees so you can be made whole. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And that's something we all got to learn, because some of us is around my age in their 60s, still running around acting like they 16 or 17 years old. You 60 years old with your pants hanging off your, man, come on, tattoos all over your body, listening to rap. What? For now we see through a glass darkly, but we can't see everything. But guess what we doing? This is why we studying, because we steady trying to scrape a little bit of that smoke off the glass, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I have known. I am known, and now abideth faith. Faith is that, what's that? That's showing that I believe. I believe enough to do with the decree. I'm hoping by doing the decree that I can get in the kingdom. I'm trying to show that I love the Father by keeping his decrees. These three, but the greatest of these is love. It's the commandments and it's the decree. And it's the way I treat anybody else around me. This is what Paul is telling you. See, let's keep going. Now, this is the big problem we have, because this joker here is running rampant right now, ain't he? Romans 6:20, for the wages of sin is death. So guess what? If you working and you refuse to return back to the Father by keeping his decree, you working for death, because that's the wages that you're gonna get, because sin is the transgression of the decree. So this is what you're working for. Hold on. Give me 1 second. But the free gift of Yahweh is eternal life. It's free in Yahushua HaMashiach our Savior. Well, man, how's it free? If I can't do this, I can't eat that, I can't it's free because this is what you was created to be anyway. Are you going back into your natural state? Not the state that you was born in, the state that's in your spirit that's guiding you to get back to that. The earth reels like a drunkard. It sways like a hut in the wind. So heavy upon it is the guilt of its rebellion that it falls, never to rise again. This is what's going on right now. This is what's going on right now. This is why you see so many things happening, because death is rampant because of rebellion, because people refuse to take the decree and love it and follow it. The animals is keeping the decree. You not. And man is the problem for all the things that's happening right now. All the death that's going on, all the fires that's going on, all the hurricanes that's going on, all the lightning strikes, whatever. Tornadoes, earthquakes. It's because of rebellion. You refuse to keep the decree that you was created for. You refuse. And then you coming up with your own brand of salvation, just like Paul warned you about that. Yeah? And then you're getting it out of the imagination of your mind. Not the breath that was blown in you that's trying to guide you and tell you, hey, okay, I'm in the store. Man, I ain't got no money, but I don't want that Snicker bar. Some say, man, don't, look, you know that ain't yours. Don't take that. So then you be like, man, I'm taking it anyway. But something inside you, then you in jail saying, man, if I just would have listened, my first mind told me don't go over there messing with that girl. But you ain't listened to it. Because why? Because you're rebellious. In times, lawlessness will abound. And because of lawlessness, right, will abound, the love of many shall grow cold. Matthew 24:12. It's here now. We see this. People will kill you for if two of y'all trying to get a parking space, you cut them off and get in the parking space. You get out the car, that man or woman might kill you. We just had a woman, some little 18-year-old girl, I guess, cut her off in traffic. She followed that girl and shot her in the face. Hosea 4:3. Because there is no truth, nobody cares nothing about the decrees, nor mercy, nor knowledge of Elohim in the land. Because if you had the knowledge of Elohim, you would know what we just got done learning. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out and blood touches blood. What does that mean, Saul? Death. It's going to be some murdering. Therefore, right? Think about it, right? By swearing, you and somebody get into a cussing match. Boom, now this person dead. Because most of the time, there was an argument today at this and that, and 5 people end up dead, right? Lying, right? Killing, right? Stealing. You stole something and ran out the store clerk shot you in the back. Committing adultery. You in here with somebody else, husband and wife, the husband and wife come home, blow your brains out. They break out and blood touches blood. Therefore shall the land mourn, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish. That's why your folks be on TV. Oh, they have to do this. Why they have to kill them? With the beasts of the field and with the fowls of the heaven, yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Look at this. Death is everywhere. Birds is falling out the sky. Man, so many fish is washing up on the sands of these beaches and stuff right now. It's unbelievable. Look at this polar bear. He ate, look, because of the wickedness of man, because of the lawlessness of man, because of man would not follow the decree. He ain't even got no snow that he needs the snow so he can hunt and eat and all these hibernate, all these things. He don't even have that. And we're gonna show you why. What's going on? So what I mean with this lawlessness, we just went ahead and read the scripture to you how the earth is reeling like a drunkard. It sways like a hut in the wind, right? Because upon it is the guilt of its rebellion. So heavy upon it is the guilt of its rebellion that it falls. It's you, man. You the one that's causing the guilt of rebellion. Let's keep going. So look here, you got homeless people. Ain't nobody trying to help them. Look, kids nowadays, parents trying to talk to their kid, little kid got a hand up. You better not smack her, because if you do, you're going to jail, right? Prostitutes, they revolting because they want sex worker rights, right? Look, little kids in India getting raped. Abduction is out of control. And then, the lawlessness with the riots and all these type of things, you think you should have saw some of these the last couple during the pandemic, you ain't seen nothing yet. Look, even the police is on the tape. Okay, criminal, do your thing, and we're gonna let you know when the police is coming. This is what we live in. Human trafficking is out of control, and all kind of people that you know what I mean, at this point in the world, you can't even look up to nobody no more. You can't even have trust or faith, especially as a kid, with nobody, because you don't know if that person gonna rape you. You don't know if the police chief, they just had a big human trafficking ring down here. This is what's going on because of rebellion to the decree. Right? Look at this. Birds falling out the sky. Whales keep washing up on the beach. Like, look at all these fish on the coastline. Right? I don't care where you go, Africa. Look at this. This man's whole herd is dead. Deers and stuff falling in. I mean, I always said if I had, I ain't got no problem with hunting. Man, some of these animals, you can't eat them. They sick. They full of disease. Look at this wild dog. That should be, when I was in the military, that should be one of our things, be the wild dog. He's sick. He got disease all over. Look at this polar. He don't even look like a polar bear. He's starving to death because, they keep saying global warming. Man, no, it's the earth is out of whack because of rebellion. In 2020 saw an unprecedented murder spike in major U.S. cities, about 74%. Seattle, New Orleans, 61%. I mean, look at this. And it's everywhere. And all you can say is, man, these young boys, they're out of control. Okay. Well, I can show you in another place. Why? Because they're full of the fury of Yah. That's scripture. That's why you can't talk to them any kind of way, otherwise they'll blow you away. They full of the fury. Why? Because they full of this fury to terrorize you, to get on your knees or prostrate yourself on your face and call for your creator to teach you the decrees that you need to have so he can protect you. Because right now, we just seen another shootout here. The man said I don't even let my wife go get gas no more. I just go get the gas. The little girl was in the car looking at it. He had to put her head down. You don't think that little kid gonna be damaged after all that stuff she saw? Any soldier will tell you, if you ever been to combat, you come back, you ain't never gonna be the same. So just imagine you 5 years old seeing somebody get their head blown out, their brains blown out their head. See, homicide by year. And this just Jackson, Mississippi. From 1976, look where it's at now. I mean, from the 2020, out of control. Right? Crime file. Rape is up. Kidnapping of women is up. Insult to the modesty of women is up. Right? Dowry death. Assault on women is up. Abduction of women is up. Cruelty by the husband and the in-laws is up. This is what's happening now. Horrific child abduction statistics and facts, editor's choice. Around 8 million children are reported missing each year worldwide. As estimated, 2,300 children are reported missing daily in the US. Teenagers are the most common age group for abduction. Less than 1% of missing children get taken by strangers. What? Did you hear that? More than 90% of abductions are a deed of one of the parents. And we see that all the time. These parents is killing their kids like it's all right. A child is reported missing every 2 minutes in Europe. An estimated 2,300 children are reported missing daily in the US. So being a kid, man, you ain't got no hope. And if your parents is crazy, you in bad shape. Homelessness population in New York State from 2012 to 2019. Can you see this, y'all? Can you see this? Look at it. It's growing. This is why we thank Yah for all his benefits. This is what's going on. And it's not just New York. It's all over the country. It's getting so bad. Here in Atlanta, they went ahead and just pushed the people out and just brought trucks in and just dumped boulders and stuff on all their little places where they be sleeping at so they can't sleep there because they don't even care about the people. They could care less. So this is why you need people that's out here that understand the decree to come out here and help feed these people and try to help them. But now they done came up with laws. If you give somebody some food, you going to jail. Well, we just got to go to jail. Because guess what? I got to follow the decree. Because you ain't got no place put me for no eternity. People say, well, man, I ain't going out there, man, because, you know, it's against the law. Man, look, that we commanded to do this. Now, look, national drug involved overdose death. Look at this, from 1999, look at this now. Because everybody knows fentanyl and all this stuff is just out of control. That's why they went ahead and said it's a, what? It's a pandemic or it's an epidemic. Then people get mad. Well, when it was crack, it wasn't no epidemic. Okay, who cares? It is now. And it's getting worse. And when you think when these people want to get high and they can't get high, what they gonna do? They're gonna come to that house that you worship so much and break in it and take your stuff. 29 people die every day because of drunk drivers. Every 2 minutes, a person is injured in a drunk driving crash. 28% of all deaths involve an alcohol impaired driver. 2 out of 3 people will be involved in a drunk driver crash in their lifetime. That's a lot, right? But why is people getting high and drinking so much? Because they in pain. They full of anguish. They don't know what's gonna happen the next day. Am I gonna have something to eat tomorrow? I don't have no job now. What can I do? This pandemic is killing all my relatives. All these things. So they use, instead of turning to the Father or trying to find somebody that can help them understand the decrees, or when that brother's out in that corner talking, I ain't talking about cussing folks out, I'm talking about talking right. Instead of you walking up to him and asking him, man, can you help me with this? I want to learn about this. Your pride said, man, that ain't nothing real. Now you're gonna go get you some dope, or you're gonna get drunk to try to ease the pain. You know, maybe something happened to you when you was a kid. Same thing. Now, Genesis 5, and Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented Yahuwah that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the sovereign said, I will destroy man whom I have created on the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. So just like in the days of Noah, I mean, it's kind of close, ain't it? 5.6% of U.S. adults identified as LGBT. Huh? And that's getting to be, I mean, like a normal thing now. You can cut on the TV, you see 2 people kissing, 2 men or 2 women, they laying in the bed talking about health, life insurance, or talking about car insurance. Man, how's the time that's so slick with this? And after a while, it don't even mean nothing to you. Little kids grow up thinking it's a natural thing. Genesis 13:13, and you ain't got enough decree in you when you telling them and showing him in the decree book to show them that this is wrong. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before Yahuwah exceedingly. Genesis 9:4, before they had gone to bed, all the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, so you have old ones and young ones, surrounded the house. They called to Lot, where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we may have sex with them. Right? The U.S. in 2021, $1 billion weather and climate disasters. This is what's been happening. Wildfires, flood in California, they running out of water, right? Texas and severe tornadoes and thunderstorms and hurricanes and flooding and all this. Why? Because the earth is rocking to and fro. And guess what? Every one of these elements that is created, because they all created, guess what? They all obey the commandment. They all obey the decree. So when Yah says, tell that messenger, let those tornadoes loose, here they come. Huh? The fire, everything is under a decree. And they obey it. And from what we've been seeing lately, they really do a good job of what the decree is. They ain't playing. What the firemen say, oh, this last fire out here with these $1 million homes on the beach. He said, we never seen nothing like this. Ain't nothing we can do. The wind just picked up because the wind got a decree. The Father gave the command, and all of a sudden it just was out of control. Never seen nothing like this in 40 years of my being a firefighter. Yeah. Okay. Psalms 111:5. Yahuwah tries the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hateth. Upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire and brimstone, and a horrible tempest. That's a tempest. You see the fire and brimstone, this shall be the portion of their cup. Why? Because this is what they choose. This is what they choose. They still want to be rebellious. So I'm going to take that idol from you. I'm going to take the thing that you love the most. And hopefully you'll turn back to me and find out why this is happening. Isaiah 29. Let's go look at that. Isaiah 29:5. I'm just trying to show you something. Why? Just showing you how when you don't follow the decrees that you was given as a species, as a plant, or whatever, as a mammal or insect, this is what causes these problems. Moreover, the multitude of thy strangers shall be like small dust, and the multitude of the terrible ones shall be as chaff that passes away. Yea, it shall be at an instant, suddenly. So all these things, when they come down, it's suddenly. It's coming suddenly. And ain't nothing they can do about it. All you can do, you see these people here hugging each other, crying. They're so happy to be, and then they'll even say, oh, thank God that I'm alive. Okay, but now what about after that? What about after that? Now, the bees are vanishing. How much of our food supply do the bees pollinate? See, most of us don't even think about the little bees. The food we produce relies heavily on honeybee populations for pollination. Honeybees alone are responsible for approximately 80% of worldwide pollination and our specialist pollinators. This is what they do. Or of around 100 crop species, honeybees pollinate 70, including fruits, vegetables, and nuts. Domestic honeybees keep the hives pollinate approximately 34%, while the rest is done by wild species. So they're dying because they got a covenant with the flower. See, because by them, right, because they was created, that's their decree, is to come to get the nectar out of the flower that they need to take back and then make their honey so that they can eat and their queen can eat. So they got a covenant with the flower, because when they come to the flower, they got little hairs that's on their body. The little hairs pick up the pollination that the flower is giving off. So they make a trade. He pollinates the flower covers him, he flies back to another flower, and it goes on and on and on and on. So now all of a sudden, guess what? You got a lot of plants that I don't know if people know this, but some of y'all that have gardens, you know, the flower might come up first. And by that flower, you know that's a potato. You know that's a cucumber. You know what I mean? You know that's this, or you know that's that. But guess what? If the bees is gone, what you gonna eat? What you gonna eat? So that means that that's true what the book says, right? Right? The book, I call it the book of the decree for this class, is telling you that you're gonna have a day's wage for a crust of bread, because the food is gonna be vanished. With this little joker gone, it's a wrap. Then you already know when you go grocery shop and you see stuff ain't getting put back on the shelf. You can call it what they would say is robbery by the politics, whatever. It ain't there. Who cares who's doing it? I know who's behind it, because the Most High is putting this in their mind, because His will gonna be done. Many of the plants that bees pollinate are used to make animal feed for farm animals like cows, sheep, and pigs. The most common fish foods used by commercial fish farms contain plant products such as oilseed rape, soya bean, lupine, all pollinated by bees. Let's go to Matthew 24. I'm just trying to show you what's going on. Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. You got to understand, without these bees, it's going to be more than fighting over oil. It's going to be fighting over some food and some water here real soon. Without bees, there would be no life on earth. Most people don't realize how important some animals are for our survival. Although you may not believe it, life would be nearly impossible without bees. This small insect that a lot of people are often afraid of plays an important role in ecology, right? Therefore, read this article to learn more about this extremely important insect. This little joker right here, Billy the Bee. Now, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, this is Revelation 6:5-6, come and see. I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. See? Now, let's look at this word measure. The Greek word for measure is Greek word number 5518. I guess it's konex. I have more Hebrew than the Greek, which is, but I know the number, which is equivalent to a dry quart. Now, so a dry quart of wheat is approximately enough to make 1.5 to 1.875 loaves of 1 pound bread, or the average amount of bread a person living in Rome Empire ate per day, because they didn't have a lot of meat. Meat was like a delicacy. That's why you'll find sometimes they used to eat mice too. They cut the body in half. They would grill them and hold them up by their tail and eat them. But then Yah tells us that's unclean to us too, and tells us that he got something to deal with the people that's eating swine and the mouse. You know, the swine and the mouse. We're going to show you that later. Meanwhile, the Greek word for penny is denarius, which was a coin that was used during the time of the Roman Empire. The 1st century AD was a time when the denarius was approximately the amount of money some workers were paid for a full day of work. For instance, Matthew 20:2-9 suggests workers were paid 1 denarius, 1 penny, for 8 hours of labor or a full day's work. So what that means? That's what it's going to cost you to get something to eat. So whatever you make, I mean, you know what you make, whatever job you on, how much that's going to make, that's going to cost you to eat just for that day, one whole day wage. And they kind of say, what? This is Mother Nature. But we know it's not, because Isaiah 24:1 says, behold, Yahuwah lays waste the earth and leaves it in ruins. He will twist its surface and scatter its inhabitants. And this is what's coming. It's not nice to fool Mother Nature. Remember them commercials? Yeah, like one of my elders used to say, right. Yeah, they got you thinking, little children, it's Mother Nature. Or, well, nature did, even on the news, where Mother Nature just went crazy this weekend. Oh, is it Mother Nature? Or is it Yahuwah? You see the rebellion? It's so plain. That's straight rebellion. They still won't even admit that he's the one that's doing these things. Spiritualism is on the rise, right? People worship people worshiping Hasatan. And even those that's worshiping it don't even realize it. Let's look at Enoch chapter 71. And it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated, and they descended into the heavens. And I saw the holy sons of Elohim. They were stepping on flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their raiment, and their faces shone like snow. And I saw 2 streams of fire, and the light of that fire shone like hyacinths. And I fell on my face before the sovereign of spirits. And the messenger Michael, one of the arch messengers, seized me by the right hand and lifted me up and led me forth into all the secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of righteousness. And he showed me all the secrets of the ends of the heaven, and all the chambers of the stars, and all the luminaries whence they proceeded before the face of the Holy One. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens. Oh, he sees it. Well, I was a witness. He's showing you the same thing we showed you from the beginning. And saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystals, and between those crystals, tongues of living fire. Right? I'm just put these here so you can kind of see the correlation between the tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle which girt that house of fire, and on it 4 sides were streams full of living fire. And I girt that house, and round about were seraphim, cherubic, and ophanim. And these are they who slept not and guard his throne of his glory. What? We can go look at. We can go find these too. This might be the only one that we have to look up, but I already know what it is. But I'm not going to do that right now. 2 Kings 19-15, Psalms 80. I mean, this is all the places, and I saw messengers who could not be counted. 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000 encircling that house, and Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Phanuel, and the set apart messengers who are above the heavens go in and out of that house. What house? Is it the Father's house? Because you got to remember, you got certain messengers that stand in His presence. All these messengers cannot do that. right? Because we can show you other places where a lot of the messengers, they come in his presence, they got to hold their head down and talk to him. Who was that? It's the Father. And they came forth from that house. Huh? And Michael and Gabriel, Raphael and Phinehas, and many of the set apart messengers without number. And with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. So that means we know this is Mashiach because he was cold-blooded, right? The head of days, or this the Mashiach? Huh? Or is this the Father? Uh-huh. Okay, let's see. But here's your other witnesses. Now, you might want to screenshot this and do your research. I can't do everything for you. I mean, that's for my serious scholars out there. Now, let's see. So we talked about that it came out of the house. So let's look at this. Now, without Torah, this is your house. Because you got to remember, Mashiach said that we are part of his house. By your strength, your righteousness, your faith, your good works is just all filthy rags. Because guess what? This is your way of doing it. It's not the decree that was given. The Mashiach, the living Torah, the target, the path to the Father's house. Walk the path by doing Father's pleasure, keeping the commandments, keeping, guess what? The decrees. Join yourself and see yourself as at Sinai, right? You can see that in 2 Corinthians 2 and 13. Let's go look at that. I mean, you just got to understand this stuff, 2 Chronicles 2 and 13. I did that so y'all can get a better understanding. And now I have sent a cunning man endued with understanding of Haran and my fathers, right? Blessed be Yahuwah, verse 12 of Israel, that made heaven and earth, who has given to David, the king, a wise son, endued with the prudence and understanding that might build a house for the sovereign and a house for his kingdom. See? Join yourself and see yourself. So this is what we know. The Mashiach is the one that's doing all this. He's the one that came on earth and built the likeness of the tabernacle that's up in the heaven. All right? So the Commonwealth of Israel, their covenant, their Bible must follow instructions given to them. I don't care who you are. You still have to come to the Commonwealth of Israel. But the problem is, we've all been being taught by somebody that's not the Commonwealth of Israel. They don't follow no decree. They don't have no covenant. They don't believe in the instructions that's given to them. And they're going about their own righteousness and their own filthy rags. They own little, what they call good works, which is in the Father's eyes is nothing. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 8 and 8. That's what I'm trying to get y'all to see. We got to get away from these devils, man. These folks got us messed up. They got us messed up. You either do whatever you want and then just, Father, forgive me. Okay, my son, you're under grace. Everything is okay. Yeah, okay. Hebrews 8 and 8. For finding fault with them, he says, behold, the days come, says Yahuwah, when I will make a new covenant or renewed covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. See, there's nothing wrong with the covenant. He said finding fault with them. Why? Because they wouldn't follow the decree. Now there's not, and I'm gonna show you. I can show you in another matter of fact. I'm not gonna do it right now. I can show you that these scribes, man, they just be like, whoo. If I went to the Septuagint, this wouldn't even read like this. Let's go to Ephesians. I just can't. This is a whole nother thing. So I can't do everything at every time. You're just gonna have to keep following us, and then you'll run into it because I got some already put together with that called Did Paul Follow the Law? Ephesians 2 and 12. I just haven't put it up here yet because I got so much to give y'all. Praise Yah for giving it to me to give you. That at that time, Ephesians 2, 12 and verse 19, that at that time you were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers, right, from the covenant of promise, having no hope and without Elohim in the world, right? Because we all been in that position. I could say, because we know a stranger is anybody that's not Israel, but we know that Israel also was strangers too, because the ones that was pushed out, that was scattered, they forgot all this. That's why the Pharisees had them taking all these rituals, shaving their heads and carrying on because that's the stuff they used to do. Like that's supposed to make you ritually clean. It's just craziness. But they had them doing that before they can come in the temple. Because these people, okay, you know what? I forgot I was Israel. But guess what? I heard about this man named Paul. I heard about this man named Yasha or Yahusha. Now I'm trying to find out about this thing. Well, you can't come up in here. So we got to move this, but we got stones put up over here, so you can't come in the temple that way. You got to come this way. You got to shave off everything, get in this water like we do, and before we come, because this is a ritual that we came up with, and then go in the temple. I'm gonna show you that later on. Verse 19. Now, therefore, you are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints of the household of Elohim. So we all have to do this, no matter who we are, no matter what we look like on this earth. All of us was in sin. All of our houses was busted looking like this. And if you want to get in this nice, luxurious house, you're going to have to do this. These decrees. The decrees is what's giving you the covenant. Without that, there is no help. You're going to have to, you might, in your mind, you think that you stayed in a house like this, but spiritually, you're really in a busted house. And on your way to the lake of fire if you don't change. Let's keep going. Deuteronomy 29, 9 through 15. Keep therefore the words of this covenant and do them, that you may prosper in all that you do. You stand this day, all of you, before Yahuwah your Elohim, your captains of your tribes, your elders, and your officers, with all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and thy stranger, that's the foreigner, that is in thy camp, from the hewer of thy wood into the drawer of thy water, that thou shouldest enter into covenant with Yahuwah thy Elohim, and into his oath, what? Which Yahuwah Elohim maketh with thee this day. Because he already swore to Abraham he was going to do this, that he may establish thee today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee a Elohim, as he has said unto thee, and as he has sworn unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before Yahuwah our Elohim, and also with him that is not here with us to this day. So not just Israel, anyone who will. And guess what? It wasn't just for the Jews. He just told you. But with him that standeth here with us this day, whether he be the stranger or a homeborn, before Yahuwah Elohim, and also with him that is not here with us this day. So all of us that's on this earth right now was not there. So it's for you too. You have to follow the decree. It's just that simple. And if the longer we refuse to do this, it's just not Israel's neighborhoods that's going to be tore up, because everybody else's neighborhood is getting tore up too. If it ain't set on fire, their kids on meth, you know what I'm saying? They got all these weird diseases that Israel ain't never heard of. It's for everybody, not just for the Jews. This scripture right here, if you don't have it in your arsenal, put it in your arsenal, because it might help somebody see that you can't use that no more, man. Mama, I'm trying to help you. This is for everybody that is born on this earth after this time, and really before this time, because we show you in other lessons, they always knew about this. They always knew about the decrees. Abraham spent 3 or 6 months in a cave learning the decree. But this is why the earth is going to end up being torn to pieces. Remember this and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O you transgressors. Remember the former things of old, for I am Yahuwah, and there is none else. I am Yahuwah, and there is none like me. So this doesn't mean, but what about the Mashiach? No, he's there too. But again, we showed you in other lessons, that Syria said that, Babylon said that. All that means I'm the Father, that I'm the greatest, and there is none greater than me. Declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times the things that are not yet done. Because we see the things that's not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand. Words, look, my decree, it's going to stand. And I will do my pleasure, and it's going to do what I wanted to do. Calling a ravenous bird from the east, the man that executes my judgment from a far country. Yea, I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed it. I will also do it. Hearken unto me, you star-hearted. Listen to me, you hard-headed folks, that are far from righteousness. How you far from righteousness? Because the righteousness to me, this means the decree. So when we look at the word counsel, it's order, counsel, right? It's Hebrew word 1696, the brow. It's your business. It's your occupation. It's the acts that you do. You're supposed to show this. This is who you are, and this is your occupation. Like Solomon said, let's hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Man's duty is to keep the decree. period. Now, Romans 14:8, for if we live to the sovereign, and if we die to the sovereign. So then whether we live or whether we die, we are what? We are the sovereigns. But how are we the sovereigns? Because we're doing what he said. Just like the animals do what he said. They belong to him too, right? Now, we're going to stop right here. I kind of want to keep going so bad, but we're going to have to look at righteous Noah. And I know a lot of y'all saying, you know what? I don't care. Hold on a minute. Let me get my book. Let me get my book of Jubilees. I'm going to read this. I mean, the class ain't, this ain't a Shabbat anyway, but I know people have been calling me, so I'm going to make sure that it gets up here. Jubilees, chapter 7, verse 1 through 8. Jubilees, chapter 7, verse 1 through 8. I'm sorry, Genesis chapter 7. Let's get there. I'm slipping. Genesis, how y'all let me slip like that? All right, let's see. Genesis chapter 7, verse 1 through 8. And Yahuwah said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house in the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in thy generation. So if you don't know what this word righteous means, don't worry, follow part 2. We're going to break that down. Of every clean beast, wait a minute, of every clean beast, thou shalt take 2 to thee by sevens, and male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean, by 2, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and his female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. Why? Because they just won't follow the decree. And Noah did according to unto all that the sovereign commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters of the flood, of clean beasts and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. So we see back then that this brother Noah understood what was clean and unclean. Okay, why? Because it was a decree given. See, from the Melchizedek order. Now, Jubilees chapter 7. And in the 7th week in the 1st year thereof, in this Jubilee, Noah planted vines on the mountain on which the ark had rested, named Lubar, one of the Ararat mountains, and they produced fruit in the 4th year. And he guarded their fruit and gathered it in this year in the 7th month. And he made wine therefrom and put it into a vessel and kept it until the 5th year, until the 1st day on the new moon of the 1st month. So we understand what that is. And so again, this is something that we learned, right? We've been reading about it, but we had to do, it was told, it came to us, we had to look at it, and we did research on it. So guess what? We're doing the same thing. And he celebrated with joy the day of the feast. It's a feast. And he made a burnt sacrifice unto Yahweh. 1 young ox, 1 ram, 7 sheep, each a year old, and a kid of the goats, that he might make atonement thereby for himself and for his son. So he understood burnt offerings, huh? And then not only that, what he doing? He's keeping a feast, right? They said new moon, didn't it? And he prepared the kid first and placed some of its blood on the flesh that was on the altar which he had made, and all the fat he laid on the altar where he had made the burnt sacrifices, and the ox and the ram and the sheep, and he laid all their flesh upon the altar. And he placed all their offerings mingled with oil upon it. And afterward, he sprinkled wine on the fire. Look, he got all the elements of a sacrifice. When there ain't no Levite, Moses, nobody around. So I keep trying to show y'all, it is what it is, which he had previously made on the altar. And he placed incense on the altar and caused a sweet savor to ascend acceptable before Yahuwah, his Elohim. And I'm going to finish that other animal understanding offerings, because all these elements is in that class. If you haven't looked at it, you need to go look at it. And we rejoiced and drank of the wine, he and his children with joy. And it was evening, and he went into his tent, and being drunk, and he lay down and slept, and was uncovered in his tent as he slept. And Ham saw Noah his father naked, and went forth and told his two brethren without. And Shem took his garment, right? And I'm gonna tell you, I wish I could. I mean, this is the Book of Jubilees. I'm looking at is a large print adapted from R.H. Charles, and I really like this one because this brother goes in and gives you on the sides of the pages. But we was doing book club, but I don't know, for some reason my class don't like to come to book club. All these things are, I mean, he has the different references aligning the scriptures to the King James in this thing. But the point I wanted y'all to see was that Noah actually knew how to do sacrifices. Now we're gonna jump down here, verse 18. I want to show y'all something. In the same chapter, we're going to jump down to verse 18. And these are the sons of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arphaxad. The son was born 2 years after the flood. Lud and Aram, the sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog. We're going to jump down to verse 20. And in the 28th Jubilee, Noah began to enjoin upon his sons the ordinances and commandments of all the judgments that he knew. Because so he already had the decree. We know he had the decree because of the animals that how he was separating the animals, right? He was told to do. And he exhorted his sons to observe righteousness. What's righteousness? The ordinance and the commandments, right? Or the decree. And to cover the shame of their flesh, and to bless their creator, and to honor father and mother, and love their neighbor. Oh, we just got done looking at all these. He threw my father and mother, but I guess I should have too, because, well, I did show the little girl with a hand up to the mother's face, talking about, whatever. See, that's what I'm trying to say. But because like right now, it's so natural that people, but then I guess when you smoke weed with your kids, you cuss like a sailor, your kids cuss like y'all do it, it's like it ain't no big deal. I mean, how can you expect them to respect you, right? And guard their souls from fornication and what? Uncleanliness. See, we're going to find out what makes you unclean. We're going to see, and all the iniquity. For owing to these three things came the flood upon the earth, right? Because of the decrees. Even the animals went sideways, right? Namely, owing to the fornication wherein the watchers against the law of their ordinances went a-whoring after the daughters of men and took themselves wives of all which they chose, and they made the beginning of uncleanliness. See, that's important. So the watchers was the one that made the beginning of uncleanliness. And guess what? They're still the same ones doing the same thing. When the decree tells you, we're going to get into this later, you should not be eating this. But the watchers, whispering in somebody else's ear, is telling you it's okay to pray over it and eat it. And they don't have no other witness to back that up. And we're going to show you this. But we can't give it to you all at once. We have to give you that in the next lesson. Let's see. So let's look at this. So he planted grapes in early spring, which is Abib. He gathered grapes around the month Teshri and Elul. Now you got to remember, these are just months that have Babylonian names. Only one name that Yah actually mentioned in this scripture, when you hear him talking about the months, is Abib. The other time he'll say month 2, month 3, month 4. Grape harvest season, and obey the law of first fruits by waiting for years. Leviticus 19, 23 through 25, because when you plant something, you got to wait so many years before you can harvest it. Then you're going to offer up the first fruits. He offered his offering, first fruits to Yah, I'm sure. Then let me see something. I might shouldn't have skipped over that. But this is what he did in this chapter. I'm just going to leave it like that. Because I got so much still to do. Oh, excuse me 1 minute. All right. Yeah, I got a lot. This is going to be a lot of information. So if you haven't read this chapter, please read the chapter. And you're going to see this. He offered his offerings, his first fruits, because we just learned about all this stuff in the last class. To Yah, I'm sure. Then made wine with the rest in the month Abib on the first full moon at Passover. Verse 3 says he celebrated with joy the day of the feast of unleavened bread. See, Noah was doing all these things. And he made a burnt sacrifice unto Yahuwah, 1 young ox, 1 ram, and 7 sheep, each a year old, and a kid of the goats, that he might make atonement thereby for himself and his sons. Each man to give according to his means on night of the 14th at sundown, fat from Passover lambs burned in blood, sprinkled on the altar, sacrifices each of 7 days of 2 young bulls, each with grain offerings of flour and oil, 1 ram, 7 lambs, and 1 goat as a sin offering. All this is in addition to regularly daily burnt offerings and drink offerings. So I'm just trying to show you that just back then and now. I mean, you know, back then before Moses, after Moses, what was going on. That's what I'm trying to show you with that. The law enjoined that no fruit was to be gathered from newly planted fruit trees for the first 3 years, and that the first fruits of the 4th year were to be consecrated to Yahuwah. Leviticus 19:23-25, Jeremiah 2:3. Alludes to the ordinance of the first fruits, and hence he must have been acquainted with the books of Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. This is talking about Jeremiah, and not just Jeremiah, right? Because we know the heavenly tablets that they have in the Shamayim is the same thing that Noah had to be taught, where the laws regarding it are recorded, and realizing that Israel is Yahuwah's first fruit of all the sons of Adam. Now, and he prepared the kid first and placed some of the blood on the flesh that was on the altar which he had made, and all the fat he laid on the altar where he made the burnt sacrifice, and the ox and the ram and the sheep, and he laid all their flesh upon the altar. And he placed all their offerings mingled with oil upon it. And afterward he sprinkled wine on the fire, which he had previously made on the altar. And he placed incense on the altar and caused a sweet savor to ascend acceptable before, it says Yahweh here, his sovereign ruler. And he rejoiced and drank of this wine, he and his children with joy. And it was evening, and he went into his tent, and being drunken, he lay down and slept, and was uncovered in his tent as he slept, proving the covenant statutes were always known. Because guess what? We just went back right here. We seen what the same thing he's telling you in Leviticus. Same thing. His brother was doing the same thing, and there was no Moses around. He warned his sons of the destruction that comes from leaving the righteous path. See, Noah warned his sons about the destruction that comes when you leave and you don't follow the decree. And Yahuwah destroyed everything from off the face of the earth because of the wickedness of their deeds and because of the blood which they had shed. It ain't no different than today. In the midst of the earth, he destroyed everything. We just got done reading where he said he was going to do that. And we were left, I and your sons, my sons, and everything that entered with us into the ark. And behold, I see your works before me, that you do not walk in righteousness. For in the path of destruction you have begun to walk. And guess what? On this earth, we ain't just began to walk. We all up in it. And you are parting one from another and are envious one of another. And so it comes that you are not in harmony, my sons, each with his brother. Why? Because of that breath, right? We know this. Noah teaches the first fruit offering. And behold, you will go and build for yourself cities and plant in them all the plants that are upon the earth, and moreover all fruit trees bearing trees. For 3 years, the fruit of everything that is eaten will not be gathered, and in the 4th year, its fruit will be accounted kodesh, or set apart, and they will offer their first fruits, acceptable before the Most High Yahuwah, who created heaven and earth and all things. Let them offer in abundance the first of the wine and oils and first fruits on the altar of Yahuwah, who receives it, and what is left, let the servants of the house of Yahuwah eat before the altar, which receives it. Because when they eat before the altar we know from other lessons is the Creator's table. Now, Genesis 8:20, and Noah builded an altar unto Yahuwah, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And Yahuwah smelled a sweet savor, and Yahuwah said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite everything living as I have done. But guess what? But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahuwah. So wait a minute, how did he do that? I thought that was new. Okay. Now, you may ask yourself, what does this have to do with the class on the dietary law? Well, we can very well see that this world is being destroyed. Life means nothing. No one is safe. Everything evil seems to have accelerated. Lawlessness has become a common day-to-day reality, and there is truly no love. It seems anywhere, and that the love of many has waxed very, very cold. So for us that can clearly see these things, the starvation, the rampant mental health issues, the homelessness, the greed, and the lack of caring, we know and understand there is only one reality, and that is Yahuwah. When it comes to food and culture, a lot of people seem to have a problem giving up the things they were raised on to serve the Creator. Either they don't know and understand or have been told the lie that it doesn't matter to Elohim, or just pray over it. But we that serve the Father know this is not so. So we will attempt to help those to see clearly on this topic, because this is a salvational issue that only needs to be explained properly. And seeing that the time is closing in on the Mashiach's return, we want to present ourselves before the Father through him without as much leaven as humanly possible. So this is why we went through all this, because I want you to understand what a decree is, and it's going to be very important in this lesson, I promise you. And I want you to see this, that everything was given a decree, everything must obey the decree. I don't care if it's earth, wind, thunder, lightning, the water, the birds, the bees, the flowers, and the trees. It's all there, everything. So now we come back, the dietary instructions from the soul level. This is going to be part 2. So I can't wait to see y'all. I'm hoping y'all excited like I am, because this is going to be a real good lesson. So again, we thank you for coming up here. We thank you for your time, because I know right now it's Saturday and a lot of y'all want to go play golf and wash your car and go play basketball and fly kites and all kind of stuff. But anyway, it is what it is. Father, we thank you for this time. We ask that you touch everybody's mind and that comes up here and for this lesson. We ask, Father, that you open the eyes and the understanding. Ask that you watch out for all your commandment keepers, Father. We ask that you just shine your face on all of us, Father. In Yahushua's name, Father, we pray as we always magnify your name. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. All right, y'all. Shalom. See you next time.